This might well be the only putting lesson you're going to need. How important is your setup position? The answer, very important. I think if you get this right, you can forget about the stroke mechanics and just go ahead, free yourself up. Make sure you check out this video. So for me, I'm working really hard on this personally myself. I think if I can get my setup position correct, I can just go ahead and free flow the stroke. Was the stroke perfect? Well, I'd need to look on camera. Possibly the club wobbled a little bit back. But if I can square that club face to my intended start line and hit the ball out the middle of the club face, I'm going to hit a good putt. I've got a chance of getting that putt rolling end over end towards the hole. And for me, all I'm trying to adjust here is my setup position. So what I used to do, this is a fault of mine, I used to stand too far away from the golf ball. My eyes were too far inside the golf ball, but my focus point was actually too far out. And another fault I have at times is my head tilts a little bit to the right of the target. You're thinking, how on earth can this guy hole a putt from that bad setup position? Just using a mirror. So you can pick up a putting mirror very cheaply. I've got a couple here, so I can actually even see shoulder line on the smaller one. But the important one is the one where the golf ball is. I can see my eyes there. So what I'm trying to do, first of all, at setup, is get my eyes either over the golf ball or just on the inside edge, if anything. So that would be the side that's closest to me. But I definitely don't want my eyes too far on the inside or too far on the outside, because that affects where my pressure is, that affects my path, that affects the face aim. The other things I'm trying to do here is... actually, I just want to touch on that. So I was standing too far away. And because I was standing too far away, my hands were a little bit on the low side. And I actually had the toe of the putter a little bit too much up in the air, which means the putter was pointing more to the left. My compensation would always be aiming further and further right, almost pulling it onto target. So for me to get my eye line nearer the golf ball, what I've actually had to do there is I've actually had to move the club, the grip, a little higher, a little bit more upright, to mean that I can stand in closer. Now that has a number of benefits. So as I move that club more upright, it will start to sit a lot higher in my hands. I really want it near my lifeline, which is the highest one of the three. Okay, so way up here into the fleshy part of your thumb is where we want the grip to be positioned. And if you get that correctly, you'll actually see here, I'm just holding it here with my trail hand, obviously, just for the visual aid, but I've got quite a lot of a gap between my fingers and the grip. We don't want the club down there in the fingers like we would do in an iron wood grip. We want it much more up near the thumb, the fleshy part of the thumb. So we're actually got a big gap there from fingers. That means I'm going to be gripping the golf club very soft, very light, and it really helps me take out excessive wrist action when I'm putting. So as I said, my eye line was too far on the inside. That meant that my club was very low, the toe was more up in the air. So I have got the club more upright. That's meaning it's higher in my hand. That means I can now get my eye line closer to the golf ball. Now, the other things here, I mentioned about my focus point being too far out. I see that all the time. Every putting lesson I do, we've got some wacky looking glasses that you put on, pro-aim glasses that we wear. And it shows you, because you through your right eye, you actually get some lines. And one line, they're parallel to the target line. One line should be one side of the ball, one the other, parallel to our target line. Everyone I ask them to put on, their focus point is too far out front. So what we've got to do in putting, and this is only putting, is we've got to feel like our chin comes down to our chest. So I've got my eye line nearer the golf ball. I've stood closer. I've got that club more upright. And now I'm just going to get my chin to my chest so my eyes are actually focusing a little bit more downwards. Now, when I get that correct, it actually sorts out my head placement as well. So my eyes were not only focusing too far out, but tilted to the right of the target. So when I bring my chin to my chest, it really helps me square my head. So now my eye line is parallel to the target line. That really helps my path. The last little thing I'm doing here at setup for me as a checkpoint with this is I've got some lines on this mirror. I'm just trying to get my club face square. So it's a big one for me. If I'm not concentrating on it, I'll tend to have the club face a little bit closed. Now, without a putting mirror, what you could do is just have a couple of chalk lines. So you could draw a chalk line that is your intended start point. So for me, it's just the right half of this hole where I've got the laser pointing. And then I draw a line at right angles to that. So you know, if you could just take out a ruler, just draw on some chalk lines on the green, it's going to rub off. It's not going to cause a problem. And you can actually just check where that club face is starting to point to make sure that it is at right angles to your target line. So I'm taking quite a long time in my setup position, but once I'm ready to go, I'm just pulling the trigger. So I've got less time thinking over the golf ball. So I'm ready, glance, back, pull the trigger. I've left it short, I think. Bang on line, might get there. Close. You could see the roll. There's nothing wrong with the roll. I just forgot to hit the putt hard enough. A little tricky when you're talking at the same time. I wouldn't suggest you do that. Let me try one more. But you can see that started bang on line. It's great having this visual of the laser line. So if you've got some at-home practice, you know, I'd definitely recommend it. But the mirror is what's important, getting my eye line correct. So I'm standing closer, got the club upright, my eye line much closer to the golf ball, my chin to my chest, so my eyes are focusing more downwards. And with the mirrors, I'm just checking my club face is square as well. Okay, I've hit that with a little bit more speed, just a touch left of target. Whether you use a line, I've got a line on the ball on this one, whether you decide to use the line or not is personal preference. But for me, if I can get that setup correct, my eye line in particular, chin to chest, glance to where I'm going to putt to, and then just pull the trigger. That's a good putt. It really stops me overthinking technical parts. So I'm just going ahead, not really worrying about the stroke itself. I'm just getting that setup correct. So again, quick checkpoints. Are you standing close enough to the golf ball to get your eye line somewhere on the inside edge? If you haven't got a putting mirror, but you can pick them up, 10, 15 quid for a relatively cheap one. This is a better one from Viso Golf. The cheaper ones, they do scratch a little bit more, but you know, get whatever you need. At least a putting mirror is going to help. The other way of doing it is set up to a golf ball. When you're ready, just drop a ball from your lead eye, your one that's closest to the target, and you should try and get it hitting the golf ball. You can see I was just a little bit too close to it on that one. So let's try and get that setup correct. Hitting the golf ball, if anything, just on the inside edge. So that one's hit it, knocked it a little bit away. So if anything, I'm probably standing just a fraction too close, which is not bad for me. As I said, my fault was too far away, but you can drop the ball from your eye line. I like using the putting mirror. I would do some without it, some with it, sorry, and then some without it. Let me see if I can roll one more. Club face square, eye line nearer the golf ball, chin to chest. Another one straight down my line. For me, it's so vital. It's so vital to get my eye line correct. I love having the laser here. It works really well indoor practice, but a chalk line, a string line, all you need is 2 tent pegs and a bit of string outside to put underneath it, will give you that visual. If not a chalk line, putting mirror, 10, 15 quid. Get your setup correct, whether you're at home in the living room or out on the putting green doing some practice, and then just free up your stroke. Just let it go. I'm not thinking about my stroke length, speed, anything along those lines. I'm getting my setup, I'm glancing to where I'm going to go, and I'm pulling the trigger. And it really is helping me free up my stroke and not worry about the ifs and buts. I know if you can improve your setup, it's going to improve your stroke as well, get you rolling the ball better. Make sure you let me know how you get on. Put some comments below. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, at least 2 instructional videos a week. Right now, YouTube is suggesting the next video of mine that's relevant for you, and it's just here, so click on that and check it out.